Today, the sheer numbers of unpredictable players on the internet has led to some of its greatest glories. Fundamental research into cancer, AIDS, and other diseases has been slowed down by a complex problem which has to do with the intricate folding of molecules. Scientists using supercomputers could not solve it. Adrian Troy was one of the creators of a video game calling upon the community of video gamers out there in the world.
Here we can see an RNA molecule folded up into this beautiful helical pattern. It forms a helix. And the amazing thing is that this pattern is formed out of very, very simple rules which pull it together and create this shape. And so it's a little bit like you can think of your hands as there are simple rules which determine how it can bend, and then there are certain ways in which it loves to come together to form a compact shape. And that's just what these molecules are doing in the body.
And your shirts, for example, you are into shirt folding?
These molecules fold up in much the same way that a shirt folds. You can imagine it starts completely unfolded and not at all suitable to put in your drawer. But if you follow very, very simple rules, it becomes this beautiful package that you can then store and show. We took the latest scientific models of biomolecule folding, and we created a game, and we put it on the web without knowing what would happen, and without knowing if it would be fun at all, if anyone would come. And instantly, people arrived, and they broke down the computers. We had to build new computers, and they played, and they spoke with one another, and they taught one another about the science as non-experts, and they began reading papers, and they began studying and understanding. We have lawyers, we have school kids, we have retired people, we have bedridden people, we have grandmas. It's really everyone from age 10 to age 100.
This idea was impossible before the internet, and the response was stunning. Within days, hundreds of thousands joined in, and they solved the puzzle. The world responded, and it was beautiful.
And here is where you design a new molecule. And in many ways, we tried to subliminally, you might say, help the players understand and inhabit the world of the molecule. So we placed the whole game in this water, and we put all of these little bubbles in the background, but they're part of the story of what's happening. Each molecule has its own sound, and these sounds are specifically designed so that when the molecule is well folded, they form harmonies. And if something doesn't fit together, it'll form a dissonance. It's actually kind of hard to make it do it. These are real chemical results of actual molecules that we players designed and we built them. So we say Eterna is played by humans but scored by nature. In other words, nature determines who wins and who loses the game. And that's science.
The solutions of the video gamers are not just fantasies. They are verifiable and can be synthesized in the lab. Sebastian Troon is also reaching out into the world. Originally, he has become famous with self-driving cars.
My dream is to go and give every human being a chance. And the best way to do this is education. So we built this little company that we call Udacity that offers education for free. We have hundreds of thousands of students staying with us at any given point in time. We've been amazed how fast our student base has grown. There's really a thirst for education. Like, as the machines are becoming smarter, I think people want to become smarter and people want to make a contribution. And it's harder and harder to make a contribution today, and it'll be even harder in the future. So we really got to go and do something for ourselves. And the best thing we can do is, I think, is education. In the very beginning of my journey into education, I had a chance to teach a class online and teach a class at Stanford. And at Stanford, we got 200 students. I consider myself an extremely great teacher, so I got a large class. But online, we got 160,000 students. 160,000. And when we finally finished this class, we were able to stack rank the Stanford students, who are the most privileged and most selected students, with the students from the open world. And the top 412 students, they weren't at Stanford. The best performing Stanford student was number 413 out of a class of 200. That kind of opened my eyes, and I realized, my God, for every great Stanford student, there's 412 amazingly great, even better students in the world that don't make it at Stanford.
Just before heading into the mountain section of the course, Stanley tracked down and passed the crippled Highlander, putting Stanford Racing Team's Volkswagen Touareg into the leader position and effectively ending Highlander's bid for glory. As Stanley crosses the finish line, the Stanford Racing Team has made its way into the history books.
This was Sebastian Troon's moment of glory back in 2005. Most of his competitors were a sorry sight.
History has already been made as Highlander crosses the 8-mile mark, further than any vehicle traveled in the inaugural Grand Challenge. 20 more teams followed the Big Three out of the gate, all hoping to complete the 132-mile course in a winning time. Team Dad, with its rotating cluster of sensors, sped off the line, making up ground and passing Team Axion in the process. Team Ensko's buggy-style robot Dexter also left the line with a full head of steam, fiercely attacking the desert terrain. Cat 5, the Ford Escape hybrid from Louisiana's Gray Team, eased its way past the crowd, and Terramax, the 16-ton cargo hauler, left the gate determined to finish the course.
Autonomous cars are developing rapidly. Today, you don't see big radar installations or tons of equipment.
So our primary objective when we built this car was to basically make it look very normal on the outside and the inside. The vehicle can send information about what it is seeing to the internet, which can be useful to other vehicles on the road. It can also download information about what is happening on the roads before it reaches an accident area or a traffic jam, for example.
So the internet will be decisive very soon.
The internet will play a very important role in this, yes.
Can you open it? It must be packed with electronics. Show
Yes.
us.
So just like we humans have brains to basically process all the incoming signals, we need to have computers basically which process all the signals from the LiDARs and the radars and the cameras.
I can't see anything.
It turns out that really there's nothing to see. It's a completely usable empty trunk space, but hidden behind under the trunk is a set of computers. There are 4 computers, each with 4 so-called processing cores. So it's really equivalent to 16 personal computing machines, which basically crunch all the data coming in from the sensors. These dots that you see are basically reflections from laser beams from the laser LiDAR sensors on the car. They emit light beams, hit obstacles, and they come back as reflections, and they show up as dots.
But it only sees a virtual world.
It really literally sees a virtual world. The big question basically is that, does it understand the ethics of a human? Does it understand the values of human society? For example, our vehicle, what it would like to do basically is not hit anybody as the highest priority. And then if it has to hit something, it would prefer to rather hit something than somebody. But what it really wants to do is basically not hit anything at all or anybody at all.
But who is going to be liable in case of an accident? The onboard computer, its designer, the GPS system, the internet, or the driver who eats his breakfast?
When a car makes a mistake and learns from it, that experience is instantaneously shared with all the other cars. So all the other cars learn from it as well. It's actually something that people can't do very well. So if I make a mistake, which I've made many in driving, then I can commiserate and I can improve, but nobody else learns from it. When a self-driving car makes a mistake, automatically all the other cars know about it, including all future unborn cars, will never make that same mistake again, which means the ability for cars to develop an artificial intelligence is so much greater than the ability of people to keep up with them.
Let me show you one of our robots. This robot essentially has 4 wheels, and each of these wheels have these tiny rollers on them. And what this allows this robot to do is essentially it allows it to drive sideways as well as forwards as well as turn without having to do anything like parallel parking maneuvers. So that makes these robots extremely versatile in their motion. To kick the ball, what these robots have is a main kicker which slides the length of the robot and kicks the ball forwards. We also have a chip kicker which can kick the ball upwards, and that makes the ball go up into the air.
These robots are autonomous. Nobody steers them with a joystick.
Once the defender is in place, it'll be a bit more challenging for this robot to score. RoboCup this year, we have not let in a single goal, although we scored 48 goals in total against the opponents.
So you're a world champion.
We are. We came first this year in the RoboCup international competition. The blue robots need to have an indirect free kick, so they're figuring out how they should pass between themselves.
Could this team eventually beat the real Brazilian football team?
That is the goal of RoboCup. That is by 2050 to have a team of soccer-playing robots which can defeat the FIFA World Champions, and we'll see it happen. I'm very hopeful that we'll actually get a team of robots which are competent enough and smart and intelligent enough to actually beat the world champions in 2050.
Better than Messi, Ronaldo and Neymar.
It sounds difficult, but we can get there. We can get there. We have a certain reverence for Robot 8. I mean, to us, saying Robot 8 is equivalent to someone saying Messi or Ronaldo or something. It's the same. This here is Robot 8. It's very identifiable because its pattern includes 4 green dots on top, and it's one of our favorites, actually.
Beautiful. Do you love it?
Yes, we do. We do love Robot 8.